Hey there, and welcome to the Call to Cinema. I am Aaron, and I'm very excited to be here today. I got a birthday present come from my dad. Because of the way the mail and everything is going right now, birthday presents are coming at different times. Most of them coming in May. But this is what my dad had ordered for a while. I didn't know this was coming, had no idea, and had no idea when he told me he had something for me. I knew it was probably going to be a book because Dad knows that I collect a lot of films and I'm always getting something, or there's a sale coming up or something like that, or somebody else is buying me movies. So what he tends to do, hey Chris, welcome man, is he tends to buy me movie books, and he definitely thinks outside the box in ways that in some stuff that I never thought about. Hey there, William, because I didn't know this one existed. I'm ashamed to say I didn't know this book existed. So tonight I'm going to talk about John Carpenter. I'm going to show you my John Carpenter collection, Blu-ray and DVD. I will give you my top 10 John Carpenter films. I'm going to go with his feature films. And we'll also talk about his TV stuff as well. And a couple of things he produced that some people, hey there Dave, may not be totally aware of. But first off, it was a book that was done by Ken Gottlieb Walker, and who that is? It's a famous photographer, and had worked on. Hey there, Boredom Strikes. I'm sure I missed some highs there, but hi everybody. He worked on the first 6 films from I think Halloween up that John Carpenter worked on. He was a set photographer. So, she was a set photographer. And recently she put out this. So this is on set with John Carpenter. You've ordered your indicator stuff? Awesome. You're gonna have a rock collection, George. This book is amazing. And it's not just like set photos and there's there's writing write-ups there as well. But the really neat thing about this is you get to see Carpenter from his genesis, and you can see in the pictures as you go through a man mastering his craft, becoming more confident with the camera and the way the crew works around him. It's pretty amazing, and it has some. I want to let you see a couple of the photos here that I think are not ones that you normally see, which are kind of fun. Hey Tanuj, welcome man. So this is one of Jamie Lee Curtis kind of laughing in between shots with when that classic. I didn't either, Boredom. That's the thing. That's the neat thing about it. But what I find really cool is the. I'm gonna get to the right ones. When you get to the in between stuff, when you're seeing the actors out of and she has a really good eye for camera. So there's a lot of shots here. If you've ever seen that picture where Laurie's kissing Michael Myers, the often shown one, that's from Kim. Kim, she's the one that did that picture. So it's really kind of interesting to see how she goes through with the different ones, like pictures from The Fog. There's pictures from Escape from New York here. Some great behind the scenes stuff. The late Janet Lee Curtis on there. But anyway, I'll get into that a little bit later. What I wanted to do first, and kind of start it up, is just to talk about our favorite Carpenter films. All in all, Carpenter has made 18 feature films. The last one he did was back in 2010 called The Ward. The first one he did, if you want to call it a feature film, I like that one, Dave, actually. That's going to be on my list. The Ward was the last one that he actually directed. The first film that he directed was Dark Star. However, Carpenter would say that he wasn't really scheduling like filming in Dark Star. It was really off the cuff, almost student like. So he considers Assault on Precinct 13 his first film, but which would make it 17 films. But because Dark Star was made and it is out there to buy on DVD or Blu-ray, I don't have it, but it is out there. Oh, they never remade They Live, thank God, not yet. That idea has been scrapped for now. I'm sure they'll remake it one of these days. The good thing about John Carpenter, especially, let's say for instance you're coming in this video and you haven't, maybe you're newer or you haven't collected a lot of John Carpenter work. He's extremely well represented on video, on Blu-ray, on DVD, on 4K. John Carpenter, man, that guy is represented really, really well. And aside from like the feature films that he made, he also made a couple TV films as well. He made one with Kurt Russell, Elvis, which is out there with on Shout Select, I think. Shout Select, I think, put out Elvis. I still need to get that one. And he made the one that with Lauren Houghton that you just mentioned, and that one is called what's it called again? I got it right here too. Someone is watching me. That's it. And of course, the third one was a pilot for a TV anthology series that never came to fruition called Body Bags, which he did with Romero. But he directed, I think, like 2 segments. He directed the first one and the second one. I have the Starman TV series. I don't have the Starman Scream Factory edition yet. That's one that I do still have to get. There's a couple of like Carpenter stuff that I still have to get. There's movies that aren't going to make it onto my top 10 list, obviously. I'm looking at you, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. A lot of people love that one, but when you're doing a top 10 list of Carpenter stuff, I didn't realize exactly how much incredible stuff he put out there. Because when you've got a director that's only directed 17 or 18 films maximum, and you realize how many of these films are instant, undeniable classics. Did you really? How was he? Was he nice? Was he curmudgeonly? I can imagine being like a little curmudgeonly, but in a good way. Super nice. That's excellent. So I've got my top 10 Carpenter films here, and I don't know, should I do these in like numerical order? Do you want them like as in my best to least type of thing? I'm going to go through the list. I want to hear your top 10 afterwards. I'm going to go through my Carpenter Blu-rays and stuff as well. Favorites, The Fog. Nice. I love that everybody kind of has a favorite one. I don't know if it's DVD or not, Alan. I do know that it has a Blu-ray, but I don't know if it's like sometimes there's Blu-ray DVD combo packs, but I'm not sure if that's one of them. But let's start with number 10, right? Oh, this is hard. See, I kind of know what my top 5 is going to be. I got to get your... See, I don't have my thing here. Yeah, so I got to open it up. So let me just turn down the sound on this so I can see your messages, because I'm missing all your messages, because my phone was really dead when I came down here. And where are all the... Skip ad. Let's see if I can... I'm waiting to see like the stuff come up. I got that one here too. Oh, I should mention that one. I got to get that one. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Hey, there's Cinematech. Hey, Logan. We're talking John Carpenter because, and by the way, if you haven't picked this up, hey there, Daz, pick this up. My dad got me this for my birthday, and I am totally in love with this book. It is amazing, and the pictures in here are incredible. So it's on the set with John Carpenter, The Thing, Halloween, The Fog. And the first six, the first six big films that he did, starts with Halloween, and ends with I think Christine. Christine's the last one that she worked on as the set photographer. So I'm going to start this off with my top 10 Carpenter. I didn't know they existed, man. My dad's always sending me books, and I got a cool gift coming from my mom too, but that one's not going to come till Elvis. Kurt Russell did a great job in Elvis. It's not everybody's bag because everybody doesn't like Elvis. That's the thing. My better half is not a huge Elvis fan. But what I've done is I picked the top 10 feature films. So I haven't chosen, like, Body Bags is not there, Someone's Watching Me is not there, Elvis is not there. It's like top 10 feature films because there's just so much to choose from in Carpenter's, like, body of work. And it's like a smaller body of work when you think about it. When you see so many filmmakers out there do like 30 or 40 or like hundreds of films sometimes. But it's a quality body of work. Even the worst Carpenter film is an entertaining film to watch. And you can't say that about everyone. And the really neat thing about it is sometimes Carpenter did some of his best stuff early on when he didn't have a lot of money. And he had to wear a lot of hats. Assault on Precinct 13, that's going to be on my list. He didn't just direct Assault on Precinct 13. He just didn't score Assault on Precinct 13. He also edited the film as well. And I think we can pretty much all agree that's one of Carpenter's tightly done films. So when given his own accord, then he's, when they let him do what he wants to do, it works well. Sometimes they don't, and that doesn't work so well. And Logan mentioned one of those times right now, Ghosts of Mars. Obviously not going to be on this list. So here we go with my top 10 Carpenter films, starting with number 10. And like I said, even his worst films are better than some. My kids, unfortunately, are not here. They're in Halifax, and the way everything's going right now. One of them was supposed to be here for my birthday, but couldn't. Unfortunately, that could not happen. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and all that type of stuff, because I always forget to say that at the beginning of the video. All right, so Christine is number 10. I love Christine. I love the book as well. I thought Carpenter did a great job bringing this Stephen King book to life. He casted it extremely well. The soundtrack was incredible for Christine, just like it was in the book. And it's solid, it's tight, and the effects, there's this kind of, should be a cheesy effect. It shouldn't work. But when, what's his name again? Keith Gordon, right? Turns around after Christine's been trashed, and he looks at Christine and basically says, I'll paraphrase that because I can't remember the line exactly now. Okay, let me see you do it. And Christine kind of like just takes out all the dents and just comes back. It should be cheesy. It should be laughable. It's not. It's an amazing piece of cinema, and it works really, really well. Christine is easily a top 10 Carpenter film for me. Yeah, Keith Gordon is so good, and Keith Gordon would also be great in movies like with De Palma in Dress to Kill, and he would go on to be a good director as well. Keith Gordon was looking, when he was watching Carpenter, when he was watching De Palma, he was watching him carefully because he didn't want to act. That wasn't really his big thing. Directing was what he wanted to do, and he did a really good job of it too. Yeah, Christine was such a hard one to pull off, but he managed to do it. All right, number 9, and I'll be honest with you guys, it was really hard to put these in any order. But number 9 is a favorite of mine. I will eventually pick up Escape from LA because it's fun. Like, it's not my favorite, of course, but it's definitely fun. Halloween, The Thing, Big Trouble, They Live, Starman, The Fog. Oh, you tied one there. Escape from New York, In the Mouth of Madness, Assault on Precinct 13. Oh, we're going to have some. Prince of Darkness. I loved this film. A lot of people really, really didn't get into the Prince of Darkness when it first came out. It didn't get the highest like ratings at the time. I saw it in theater when it came out. I remember going on a cold wintry night with my dad to go see Prince of Darkness in theater. It was glorious and it was an amazingly fun time. It was weird and unusual, and it took some chances. There's some different casting in there. Alice Cooper. Um, I love the concept behind evil, and that was used in the film. I thought Donald Pleasance was magnificent in there, and Jameson Parker from Simon and Simon actually did a damn good job as the lead actor. Um, Pretty much everybody was spot on for the role that they had to do. Hey there, Brian. We're talking Carpenter tonight. It is insane, and that's the thing. And that mirror sequence in Prince of Darkness, like, definitely put it over the top for being on there for me. The mirror sequence freaked me out, and I'm gladly, easily put Prince of Darkness in the top 10 for Carpenter. Yeah, exactly, the blonde-haired one. Gerald Rainey's the other one. I knew he'd gone to be a Major Dad. I'm going to look at all your lists after. Okay, we're at number 8, right? Like I said, these are not easy to rate, but number 8 is a Kurt Russell classic, and it is Big Trouble in Little China. Excellent, excellent film. It's so out there that it was so hard for them to actually, what's the word I'm looking for? It was so hard to market. It was a really hard film to market. As a guy, like, that's my thing, PR. I can't imagine the nightmare this film must have been for marketing. It was an action comedy horror film. I wouldn't say it's similar to the Car 2. Christine's very, very different. Starring Kurt Russell again, the favorite of John Carpenter. And if you haven't seen Big Trouble in Little China, you really owe it to yourself to go and see Big Trouble in Little China. It is an incredibly well done. Look at this. Even look at the poster. Even the poster is kind of busy with all kinds of stuff there. It's one of the best characters Kurt Russell plays next to Snake Plissken. And it has a bit of everything, right? You got your action, your comedy, your horror, your kung fu. And it doesn't have a boring second in it. I could easily switch around, like, the order of these here. And I'm doing this pretty much on the fly. Because I've been working on this list and changing around for hours. All right, so next, what order to do these in? We're going to go with one that should be in top 5 though. Oh, this is so hard. Okay, Escape from New York. We get Kurt Russell again. It introduces the legendary character Snake Plissken, who would come back for Escape to LA, which isn't quite as good, but this film is gorgeous. Yeah, I've mentioned the hour sale a couple times actually. It's been on for a while. $450, man. I would love to have the money to spend $400 on that. If you haven't seen this one, again, this is another must. It is great. It is well done, well shot. Music Escape is fantastic. I love when Carpenter does his own music in films. Like, doesn't always, but when he does, there's one film where he doesn't, but still works. It works well, and we'll get to that one because that's going to be one of the top ones. But this one here is an amazingly well done film, and I don't know what else to say about it. 1997. Look how bad the world went in 1997. If only they had waited a few more years for that. All right, so that's number what? 7? Number 8? What are we going with? So we got 10 is Christine, 9 is Prince of Darkness, 8 is Big Trouble in Little China, 7 is Escape from New York, and number 6, The Fog. I love this movie. Look, For people that watch my channel a lot, you know I like a lot of supernatural stuff. I like ghost stories. The bedroom. I like all scenes of They Live. Actually, it's a fantastic film. But this was a fantastic one. You got to see Jamie Lee Curtis acting alongside her mom years before Halloween. H2O would come around. You got the stash in there, Tom Atkins. Actually, without the stash, I think. A great cast. Hal Holbrook is in this movie. Extremely creepy film. Ignore the remake at all costs. It is really, really bad. But this is gloriously fun to watch. Carpenter would go on to say this wasn't one of his favorite films, but he did proclaim that it was a minor classic. So good for Carpenter to know and not be like falsely modest. I hate false modesty. Yeah, that remake is beyond awful. That was number 6, right? So number 5. The gloriously amazing Assault on Precinct 13. He wrote it, he directed it, he edited it, he scored it, and he kind of based it. It's pretty much Rio Bravo. He's a really big Western fan. So if you like Rio Bravo, you're gonna love this one. I think he edited it under the name Tom T. Chance, or is it John T. Chance? Which is actually, well, it's John Wayne's name in in Rio Bravo. So there you go. But it is a fantastic film. Austin Stoker stars in this one. A different cast than you would see normally. Darwin Jostin, a lot of like kind of unknowns at the time. But I love this film, and like I said, this could easily be anywhere on the top 5. But it's just because there's such a breadth of work that it's that you'll find that soon. Number 4. Number 4, right? They Live. Oh, no, not that. You're not to you yet. Number 4 is They Live. What can you say? It's an almost perfect film. It's perfect for modern day society. They Live is really scarily prophetic for right now. Roddy Piper was a really good Canadian wrestler. The remake of Assault on Precinct 13 was okay. I didn't mind it. I prefer the original, but as far as remakes go, it's not bad. It's definitely not in the Fog territory. It's Duke Nukem. They Live is such fun, and it has one of the best fight sequences of all times, and one of the best lines. Like Brian, just as soon as I put it up there, Brian quoted the line because it's one of those really quotable lines. Roddy Piper is a good actor, but this is definitely. I love Hell Comes to Frogtown. I love the other stuff that he's done, but this movie utilized Roddy Piper at his very, very best, and that's kind of goes without saying. Never. You cannot ever go with They Live as a mad film. Number 3. The top 3 shifted around for me a lot. I'll be honest with you. The one that I'm going to show you in number 3 place. A lot of people wouldn't put it in the number 3 place. You would have put it down a little bit lower. The line is Piper's actually. He actually used it in a wrestling feud. See, Piper would write down all of his promo work in a book. He would write down all the lines that he used for a promo, so we could maybe use them over in different territories and stuff like that. So he showed the book to John Carpenter on the set of They Live, and that's where the line comes from. Apparently, it was one of his early territory, feuds that he was doing with somebody, and he used the line basically. I'm here to kick out, to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm out of bubblegum. So Carpenter thought it was fantastic for the film. Roddy Piper did as well. History was made, and a line went down in cinema history. Don't say wrestling never gave you anything good. Number 3 is In the Mouth of Madness. Now, this here is probably my personal favorite H.P. Lovecraft that's not actually H.P. Lovecraft. See, In the Mouth of Madness is glorious. And all these times, do you read Sutter Kane? All the times when people talk about H.P. Lovecraft being like hard to make, to like interpret and to make films of. This is the closest I've seen anybody get, and I haven't seen the In the Color of Dark, but this is the closest anybody get to really doing Lovecraft. I mean, Reanimator's great. From Beyond is fantastic. Both those are great. Stuart Gordon does and Brian Yuzna do great jobs with H.P. Lovecraft. But this isn't even a Lovecraft book. But oh, Chris, you got to see this one. But this is the closest I've ever seen from somebody that reads Lovecraft to actually being H.P. Lovecraft. There's two more. Mosquito's fun. Mosquito's fun. But this is a great film. If you've never seen it, man, you got to check it out. I went back and forth. I so went back and forth on 1 and 2. It was hard. What Lovecraft writings would you recommend for newbies? Oh, God. What would I go with? Honestly, pick a short story collection for sure. Don't dive yourself into... Let me think about that, actually. That's a really good question. I want to do a Lovecraft video. So that will be coming up, just to let you know. Would you really go with that? Like, but which Cthulhu? I mean, like we're gonna go, like some people are gonna say in the shadow. But yeah, no, that's a great idea for a video. So let me think of that, because I'll do Lovecraft's like stories and Lovecraft movies. There we go. There's a category video. AME. Thank you. Number 2. Oh, this was so hard. Lovecraft, I don't think Lovecraft's a dry reading. It's definitely different. And it's always different than people expect it to be. But I was always big on Lovecraft. A lot of my writing came from Lovecraft. Is this going to be number 2? I'm going back and forth, guys. I'm wavering on 1 and 2. No, I got to go. I grew up reading Lovecraft and Poe. That was like the first things I ever read, actually. The Thing. Almost put this one in the number 1 spot. This is amazing. Everything about this movie is fantastic. From its all-star cast to its score by Morricone, which would get reused in The Hateful Eight. Well, sort of. And to its just perfect, like, ambiguous ending. And again, Kurt Russell always like doing the kind of stealing the show. But there's so many like scene stealers in this, and Rob Bottin's special effects work. How can the practical work on that? It just can't be beaten. It really, really can't. I can't think of anything that beats it. And you're right, Kubrick lovers. So that makes number 1 Halloween. And this was not an easy choice, actually. Halloween is... Why did I pick Halloween over The Thing? Which is a good question. So why did I pick Halloween over The Thing? Because by far and large, Halloween is more pure Carpenter in the fact that Carpenter has scored it as well. I know it's a movie that he's worked on with him and Deborah Hill. It's all him, and he's very Rost, much like Assault on Precinct 13. It's Carpenter in his very raw form. And as we've seen with remakes, you can't beat the original Halloween. It just can't be done. It has its score is so simple, but it is such an ingeniously done score. Carpenter has gone on since he's retired from making films to scoring and doing like concerts and tours. Actually, a few of them made money. But like when you're looking at stuff like let me just go here. Like Halloween, of course, it was the biggest independent film of all time. That definitely made money. The Fog actually made money. People tend to forget that. So did Escape from New York. Um, but some of the other things that he thought were going to be, I think they lived it okay too. But Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing, some of his biggest films, In the Mouth of Madness, didn't do that well, to say the least. And they were really good films. It's just they never caught on. The Thing is one of those movies that I loved as a kid, right from day one. But I can tell you there were a lot of people when I was growing up that didn't like that film. And it's a damn shame because it stopped him. Like the failure of some of his films that would go on to become not just cult classics, but classics altogether, that would stop him from doing other films. I think, what was it? Was it Christine or something? Or another film that didn't do so well. So there was another big film that he was about to work on. And I think Firestarter was Firestarter was one that he was supposed to do. But because of a failure of another one of his films, he, that's the thing. Back in the day, Logan, it was a different time. Uh, you kind of have to. I think Carpenter always used Kurt Russell. One, they had a chemistry. They worked together well. And if you've seen all of those films, then Kurt Russell, then John Carpenter knew what we would learn from watching these films. Whenever you put John Carpenter and Kurt Russell together, they always deliver. I've seen Kurt Russell in things where he's been good. I've seen Kurt Russell in things where he's been okay. But John Carpenter can get that extra bit out of Kurt Russell. He, they work so well together, and they just know each other that well. Carpenter had an excellent career, and I can just out the stuff that I didn't choose. By the way, just so you know, that are Dark Star. Honestly, I haven't seen Dark Star in years, so I really don't have good representation. Now, Dark Star, if you want to talk about starting with a bang, was a low-budget science fiction film, but who did he work on that with? Well, Dan O'Bannon, who would go on to take portions from Dark Star, by the way, and make a little movie called Alien. So, great start there. Another one that didn't make my list, but is also an excellent film, was Starman. We get to see him work with Jeff Bridges. Starman will go on to be like a TV series with Robert Hayes. I know, I love Starman. It's one of my favorites, Logan. But again, it's one of those where I haven't seen it in a long time. I've seen the TV series more recently than I've seen the movie. I need to get the Scream Factory edition. And I had to go on stuff that I remembered really well. And I wouldn't be fair just to go with nostalgia glasses. I had to go with the stuff that I'd seen and more recently. Starman I saw in theater. Starman is one of those films that is so charming and so well done and so underrated. Another one that didn't make the list, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Still not a huge fan of that film. I like Chevy Chase. I felt in that the tone of the film was off. And I found out later on, but reading about the film, that it wasn't the tone that John Carpenter wanted to go with, but Chevy Chase really, as Chevy Chase always does, threw his weight around. And it changed it from becoming more of a John Carpenter film to kind of become more of a Chevy Chase film. And maybe I got to go back and rewatch it again. Maybe it's better than I thought. But it still would make the list. I don't think, even if I watched it tomorrow, I don't think this would ever make the list. Village of the Damned. Unlike a lot of people, I don't think Village of the Damned is that bad of a film. Is it one of his best films? No, definitely not. It's not obviously not on the top 10 list. And I do own Village of the Damned, by the way. And I may be a little biased because being a huge Chris Reeves fan. But Village of the Damned is one that I always found fun. Thank you, Amy. I'm glad I'm not the only person. And again, like much of his work when it came out, was much maligned and starts to find an audience later on. I hope that eventually Village of the Damned finds its audience because I think it deserves it. Escape from LA. It's fun, but there's no way it was going to make a top 10 list with all these other films on here. Snake Plissken's back. It's cool. There's a surfboarding scene. It is what it is. Vampires is a solid flick all through. I like vampires. Not a lot more to say about that one there, so I really like that film. Ghosts of Mars. Not a big fan. Now, that being said, I've only seen Ghosts of Mars once. This is one of probably the only Carpenter, out of all Carpenter's films, this is the only one that I've only seen once. And I really didn't like it. It had one of my hometown actors in it, Natasha Henstridge, who was from like a town just a little ways from me, actually. So she was there, so I should have liked it for that. But maybe it's one I need to give another chance to. And last, The Ward. And that gets a lot of bad reviews. But you know what? I didn't mind The Ward. I actually didn't. I actually didn't mind The Ward at all. Was it his best film? No, you could tell he may not have totally been there all like 100% committed at that point. But it's still an entertaining film. It's fun. It's a fun watch. At least I think so. As for the other ones, there's Somebody's Watching Me, which is Lauren Hutton TV horror film, and it's really, really fun. Elvis is a great performance by Kurt Russell. That's not a film, though. That's the thing. I'm going with feature films for the top 10. Body Bags, again, a great work, and right, it is Hooper. He did 2 Masters of Horror. He did Cigarette Burns, which I'll be honest, Logan, I didn't like the first time I saw it. It took me a couple times before I actually liked Cigarette Burns. And he did, I think he did Pro-Life as well. I think that's his second one that he did. It's got, is it Derek Mears, right? Derek Mears is the demon in that one. You know, the guy that played Jason in the Friday 13th remake. I'm pretty sure it's Derek Mears, and Ron Perlman's the dad. Yeah, I've seen all the Masters of Horror stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Ron Perlman's the dad, and Derek Mears is the demon. And it is definitely a very different one. Cigarette Burns is a bit more challenging in what it does, and extremely well done. Pro-Life really takes it there. Ron Perlman is the father of this girl that says she's been raped by a demon. She goes to an abortion clinic to get to have the baby like taken, you know, they have an abortion. Her father's super religious, and a heavenly angel comes to him and tells him that he has to stop her. And he goes to do that only to find out that it's not an angel that's actually talking to him. And it goes from there. That's Pro-Life, one of the second and final of the Masters of Horror films that was done, segments that was done by him. I think as far as like, he produced a bunch of films, but 2 stood out to me that weren't really, didn't have the Carpenter, like he wasn't directing it or anything like that, wasn't part of of a franchise. He directed Black Moon Rises, which is a really good Tommy Lee Jones film. And he directed The Philadelphia Experiment. And I'd forgotten that, actually, that he was the director for that one. I'd completely forgotten that he directed that film, except when I was like, when I was researching this. As far as like anything else goes, if you want to collect his scores, his work, on record, he's put out Lost Themes 2, and the anthology movie themes 1974 to 1998. Oh, Black Moon Rises and Philadelphia Experiment. Oh, he didn't direct those. He produced them. I'm not sure if he wrote them. Maybe he wrote them too, but I know he produced both those films. That's like if you ever watch The Eyes of Laura Mars. Now the initial script that The Eyes of Laura Mars. I know I meant produced. Like he may have wrote it too, but he also produced the film. Trust me, I didn't go into his writing stuff when I was looking at this. He wrote the Eyes. He wrote the Eyes of Laura Mars. Well, he wrote the initial script for the Eyes of Laura Mars. It was changed a lot by the time that it got made, and I don't think he was too happy about it actually. Yeah. See, I stayed away when I went for tours producing stuff. I said, okay, I'll talk about his producing stuff, but I'm not going to talk about. I won't say Halloween and all that. We can talk about that, but you all know that. Everybody, you all know that he produced Halloween stuff until, well, he sold off his Halloween rights after part 3, and to the Accords. And anything afterwards, he had nothing to do with until H2O came about, and he was initially going to direct that. That fell through. Then they managed to bring him back for the latest one, the 2018 Halloween, which I do think is incredible. And he actually got to score it again, so we got to see him score another film, this time with his kids, and the score for the new Halloween is actually really good. I was going to say, I thought Natasha Richardson would be too young for it. It's so weird to think, like, he canned him because of Starman failure. And yet Starman went on to be like a TV series, right? It's called The Message, the Akkad film that Cubic Lover that he made about Muhammad is called The Message. I have it, actually. Extremely well done film. Long watch, though. It's like all the... Okay. No, you don't. That's like it's the camera. That's like the sun is the camera. Which is the right way to do it. Let's see more of the rank reviews. There's more coming up. I'm gonna do. I am actually. I'm doing an Argento top list. I'm not sure gonna be top 10 or top 12 because there's so many Argentos. There's an Argento list, a Fulci one, a Franco one. All of those are coming up in the near future. The Fulci and Frankie one, I'm waiting for a couple box sets to come, so that's going to take at least a couple weeks. The Argento list is going to be much sooner. So on the Halloween movies, that would actually be a fun one, because I would like to dive into the Halloween films like in depth, not just give a ranking. Actually, we kind of talk about Ed Wood list. I don't have enough Ed Wood. I need more Ed Wood in my collection, Cinematheque. I really do. Do you know I don't actually have Plan 9 from Outer Space? Like I think I got like a crap copy of it somewhere. Fulci did have much more than you think. Trust me, be here for that video, Logan, and I'll get you the Fulci ones. There may be some that you may not think about. That's the thing when it comes to Fulci. People tend to forget some of the stuff that he did. Russ Meyer top 10. Well, that would be a top 10 for me. I can do a Russ Meyer video sometime if you guys want to do it. I've actually seen Mario Brothers. Did they really? The art strippers. Well, that makes sense. It's a dance scene, and strippers can dance. I'm going to be doing a couple videos down the road. Hitchcock is 100% certain. That's a great idea, and that's one that I will do. Everybody knows what my favorite Hitchcock is. But I'm trying to get around to. I'm trying. I'll be honest, completely honest. I'm trying to expand the channel, and right now, like things coming is very slow, obviously. But I don't want to just like come in here and ramble. Yeah, you know it, Brian. I want to have some topics we can talk about. And I got this book today. I would plan to do like a Fulci and Franco one in 2 to 3 weeks. But this ensured that now see, everybody's got their own like Hitchcock favorite. Like Logan's obviously is notorious. For me, the most Hitchcock film, Brian's is Vertigo, the most Hitchcock film that Hitchcock ever made. And for me, the best film that Hitchcock ever made. And I think what it's going to come down to is certain things that stick with you or that resonate with you. A film works for you or for somebody on how much it resonates. Their Daz's favorite is Rear Window. I bet you there's somebody out there who will say Strangers on a Train. I know my dad would probably say Strangers on a Train, which is number 2 for me, by the way. Top 10 double D list. I like that, actually. For the Call After Dark, yes, actually, that's a great idea. That's a damn good idea. But my favorite is Shadow of Doubt. Shadow of Doubt was a movie that Hitchcock made. It was a very personal film. It was made during the time that his mother passed away. It is Hitchcock's own favorite film. Good question there, Brian. I won't mention it too much because I want to do a Hitchcock video. But Hitchcock's favorite film that he ever made was Shadow of Doubt. That's my favorite Hitchcock film as well. Shadow of Doubt deals with this girl played by Teresa Wright, who was named after uncle, who's kind of like he's the cool uncle. He's the one that's kind of like going around and he's traveling, and he's the exciting one. So she's named after Uncle Charlie. Unfortunately, what we find out really early on at the beginning of the film, and what she'll find out horrifyingly later, is that her Uncle Charlie is a killer, and he's a serial killer that's been killing people, and that's how he lives this extravagant, exciting lifestyle that he lives. He's a Mary Widow killer. She's been named after him. Her whole life has been somebody that she's idolized from afar. MacDonald Carey, gone being Days of Our Lives, of course, plays the police officer that comes into town, and kind of romances her a bit. And we get to see Hume Cronin in, I think, which might have been his first Hitchcock role. Hume Cronin will go behind the scenes and like write with Hitchcock as well. I'd have to look back, but I don't really think of any incest themes like in Shadow of a Doubt, to be honest with you. I don't think, like, Hitchcock would definitely go into that direction with Psycho and stuff like that, but Shadow of a Doubt, not so much. It's kind of like, it's small town, and what's kind of behind the scenes. I can't remember who plays her dad right now, but I know that Hume Cronin was the next door neighbor. So her dad and the next door neighbor, and as one of the most fantastic parts of the film are this really darkly comedic duo, and they're always trying to one up each other, where they're trying to guess and to kind of talk about what the perfect murder would be. And they're always like, they're always talking about murder and stuff. It kind of, you get to see like something kind of similar in a murder aspect much later on when you would do Frenzy. And with the, I'm back. And look, the angle has changed. Basically, the angle has changed because I moved it around to see if I could get more of a, more. I would suggest your picture. I lost connection there for a second, Brian. It was everybody's picture. But yeah, as you can see, I'm very excited when I talk about Shadow of Doubt. It is really one of my top films of all time. And I have more than once I did some analysis on it, and I actually did a write-up on it. And eventually, when I start teaching film, I will do a class on it. because I think it'll be a fun class to do. You guys got all quiet. Is that because I stopped for a second? You guys are like, what do we do now? As I mentioned before, John Carpenter is extremely well represented on Blu-ray. Third Man. The Third Man's another fantastic film. Joseph Cotton is such a good actor and so underrated too. He's one of those like character actors, kind of like a workman actor that just does this everything he's in. He's solid and he does amazingly well in. I was initially going to do my John Carpenter Blu-ray stuff here, but it almost seems like we've talked about the stuff so much that that's going to be not as exciting right now. Maybe I should have started with that before I got into the list. I got to switch it around next time around. Top 10 Twilight Zone episodes. Yeah, actually, yeah. I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan, by the way, guys. Uh, I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan. Obviously, I've got all the Twilight Zones except for the new one, which I still have to buy. I haven't seen every episode yet. I've only seen the first like 3 or 4. And out of the ones that I've seen of the new Jordan Peele Twilight Zone, the one with the mother and the movie camera was definitely my favorite. Um, I hope it gets better. At the point that I'd seen, that was the best episode, but it wasn't as good as like even the Force Whitaker ones. We're on volume 6, right? Aren't we? What's that poster under your Dragon Ball Z collection? Oh, one of my friends, one of my we're colleagues. She's a sweet girl, actually. She's comes in here sometimes. Young girl, actually, like my kid's age. She got me that for Christmas. I think it was last year. She's like yeah, I think she's like the age of my youngest because I wanted her to meet my kids because I know that when they come here to visit, there's it's them too, and sometimes not like a lot for them to not a lot of people around here. I'm older, obviously. They can spend some time with their dad, but yeah, and seen a few people now like around that are like younger, my kids' age that I'd actually kind of introduced my kids to. But I'm actually very careful to introduce my kids to anyone. Us is really good, actually. I really liked Us. I know some people, everybody's got their own thoughts on it, but I thought it was a lot of fun. The balloon guy and the third man at the end of the film might be homage to him. Yeah, I would say. M is just one of those films that is so well done and so extremely well put together. He's a child killer, and there's still a point in that film where you kind of feel sorry for him. He's the worst imaginable, but the director is able to make us feel something, and that cannot be understated. You can even momentarily feel some type of remorse or pathos for for that one. Well, Nightbreed, shame on you, Scream. No, actually, I love Nightbreed. It's one of my favorites. It is a fantastic Clive Barker film. I do recommend it. Some people love the director's cut. Some people love the theatrical cut. I love them both. Depends on the mood that I'm in. But definitely, yeah, I like Nightbreed so much that I don't only have a copy myself. My oldest has a copy of it as well, and of the limited edition version too. Guy from Rob Zombie movie. Yeah, that is. I actually got to meet Sid Haig. He's passed away now, unfortunately. Oh, PlayStation 9, you have a great evening. And thank you so much for coming in. Sid Haig was a really nice guy. He's exactly the way you think Sid Haig is going to be when you meet him. Is that my highest rated viewed video? Actually not. It's up there, though. I think one of my highest viewed videos, it's a really old one, is I think it's a bullet bombshells and babes or something like that. It's just like a really early video that I did on Andy Sedaris, and I will do an Andy Sedaris video eventually on the road. And for you that aren't yet like aware of Andy Sedaris, this is going to be fun because yes, there's Andy Sedaris has some interesting films in his portfolio. Yeah, that clowns when he was later roles. Yeah, I love that one. I love the Sid Haig guy. Like I don't always love everything that Rob Zombie does. Obviously, you guys know that. But I love that Rob Zombie like gave so many actors that pretty much they weren't getting a lot of stuff. Like going like actually getting some coverage and getting some good film work. For Sid Haig, who had done so much work, right, for Jack Hill and people like that in his early years, too. You know, he'd been on every TV show. He's the bad guy. He's been the good guy, mostly the bad guy. He's trashing Nightbreed. Oh, you even had those like those film school 101s. But I knew before then because I watched a lot of the collection videos. I think there's a video early on they did Logan that had you running through the woods. There might have been a slasher one with like I'm sure a movie or something like coming after you or you coming after. It was really well done actually because I remember it's an early one. You probably remember this. That at the time it impressed me so much that I stopped it and I got my better half to come and watch that video and like watch the opening. Top 10 horror films, driver's cap. I don't. A lot of those caps were back in my in my St. John's days, and my John Waters. I love John Waters actually. A lot of people don't, but I do. She's not on here. I haven't seen her in a while, but the biggest John Waters fan I know is Stephanie. Stephanie Crawford from Screamcast, and she's been on like on the Just to This podcast as well a few times, more than me. Brian, the other Brian, but but yeah, she's like the biggest like John Waters fan that I know. And I got weird John Waters tastes. I have different tastes than most people. I like some stuff that most people don't like. So yeah, we can do like a whole director series. It would be so fun to meet John Waters because he seems like one of those super camp guys. I was watching a show, what was it, the other day, and John Waters pops up in it. Just like randomly. Oh, it was Law and Order SVU actually. It was a recent episode of Law and Order SVU. John Waters is actually in it because there's this ballerina. Good title. Oh, that is a good title. Maybe I should use that. I'm coming up with good titles now, right? I call the cinema director series. We got to keep this going, dude. If I eventually do merch, I got some great title names for merchandise. Just got to think up like designs and stuff like that. Still, the cup I got, the Call the Cinema cup I got, gotta be. I cannot drink out of it. It is so cool, and it has a treasured place upstairs, and everybody that comes to my house sees a damn cup, whether they want to or not, because it's awesome. And drinks. See that's cool. That's exactly what I expect John Waters to be like. I would love to meet John Waters. And still, one of the best episodes of Simpsons is the John Waters episode of Simpsons. If you don't remember it, John Waters did an episode of The Simpsons, and I should be saving this for the John Waters one, but here, Homer meets like goes with Bart to the store at the mall, and he meets John Waters, but not he's not John Waters. He's like a character in the show, and he's very campy and kitschy. And Marge like lets like Homer know that kind of that John Waters is that he's gay. This character is gay, and Homer keeps trying to do things because Bart's really impressed with him. Homer keeps trying to do things to get like to make Bart like more manly and all that type of stuff, and like not manly so much. So he wants to make him like he thinks Bart could be gay. Is basically what it comes into, and everything that he does to just turns around on him. I'm not sure if yeah. I was going to say it wouldn't be an appropriate episode for nowadays, but I think it might even work better nowadays than it would back then because it kind of turns your like the thoughts on its like on its head. It's a really funny episode. One of the early ones. I think it's one of the early ones because I can't watch Simpsons anymore. It's just gotten so bad. I tried a couple times. My favorite sequence is like we're going to bring you to where all the workers are to the steel mill. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's on Disney Plus. John Waters is on Disney Plus, guys. Just process that for a second. John Waters, the guy that made Pink Flamingos, and Pecker, is on Disney. Has a Simpsons episode on Disney Plus. That is awesome. That's a rocking one. It kind of blows me away. I'd have to. It's been a long time since I've seen it. You have a great night there, Cinematech. Thank you for coming in, man. Thank you, pray. Oh, nice. I'm probably gonna have a shorter video tonight anyway. I work tomorrow, and I did not sleep well last night. And unlike some videos, I gotta say, I feel like we've dove deep. Didn't go like, we didn't go overly deep, but we talked John Carpenter, and we went into other stuff as well. So yeah, I'm going to say it out loud. I'm super proud of this episode. I almost got. I did that thing. Curie, I almost muted you. Remember the episode where Homer gets his shirt accidentally dyed pink? That was John Waters' episode of The Village People. I'm not sure. I'd have to rewatch it. But there we go. I am Aaron. This is my movie library. I got a feeling that this here is going. Yeah, he produced the Philadelphia Experiment. Some people say he wrote it too. I'm not quite sure about that. I'd have to look it up, but I know he's produced it. This is the movie library. It's that time again. It's only 64-minute long episode. So if you know somebody that hasn't come in here and watched an episode, by the way, please like the episode. If you came in here and you stayed for a while, I appreciate if you like the episode. It helps YouTube to get people to watch my videos. So if you came in and you liked and you enjoyed being here, please hit the thumbs up button. It's muchly appreciated. Thank you to all my amazing patrons out there. We will be doing an After Dark episode soon. Those are done a little bit differently, and I will let you know ahead of time. I am going to try and do some promos for some of the episodes that I'm going to be doing in a while. Now, what I was going to say before is if you know somebody that hasn't seen any of my videos before and you think this was a good video to show them, recommend them the video so that they watch it, and hopefully we get more members here in the cult talking about more stuff. So tonight, again, you're the call to cinema. You guys rock. You're why I'm here each and, well, almost every single day that I can be. And collection video coming up, other directors' videos coming up. There's a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks, and keep an eye out for it. Anytime I can, I will try to make sure that everybody knows ahead of time. Have a great evening. It is time for tea.